Hello and welcome back to another Reddit League matchcast. This week we are in week 9, and for this division, for Division 4B, it is also the last match of the season, unless they finish in a playoff position, of course, but the last match of the regular season. And today I'm joined by Lunacy. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Great to hear. And we're going to be watching the very crucial promotion game between Solarsensei and Paschtetli. Current standings are both of them on 19 points in first and second. Solarsensei with the far higher total score, which means that if they happen to draw, then he would go through. Unless we've got Ollie in third place. So if they don't get any bonus points either in a draw, then Ollie could overtake both of them in sort of like a last-ditch effort on the last game day. But with the map we've got here, with a balanced South Africa, I think draws are going to be pretty unlikely. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just one of those map. It's like the Argentina map back in week whatever it was.
Four, I think.
Yeah, where a lot of the places you get dropped are in these like non-pinpointable middle of a really long road, and South Africa, like Argentina, is full of many very long roads with little pinpointable like very few pinpointable points, really.
Yeah, and very little general information as well in some of the more rural locations that might be off those long roads. But
Yeah, it's not impossible to get a seed that's just full of entirely five non-pinpointable, no information, pure landscape guess locations.
yeah,
Hopefully it won't come to that, but it's not super unlikely.
yeah, it definitely could. I mean, there's probably nothing wrong with like 5 of those locations in the seed either, because then it just comes down to who's practiced South Africa better or who has a lot more luck, possibly. But yeah, we'll hope it's not just decided by like one of those rounds.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hope so. Especially because I think both Paschtetli and Solarsensei are pretty equal in terms of skill level. Like they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but I think on the whole, like based on the fact that they're tied in first position in the rankings in the table at this moment, it shows that they're both incredibly good players, and um, I think it honestly could go either way. I
yeah,
don't know that either of them, yeah, like specializes.
yeah, I think so too. So let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's get into round number 1 now. And yep, certainly looks like one of those rounds where you might be struggling to find a bit of information.
It sure does. It doesn't immediately seem like there is a pinpointable intersection at the start. One might take note of the like reasonably red dirt around the roads, the fact that these trees are kind of short and stubby, but like very puffy. I feel like those are more common in the north and like the area near Botswana, especially finds a sign for a chicken.
Yeah, with 2 phone numbers on them, both unfortunately mobile codes, so not particularly helpful, as both will take a little bit of a look at it. So we've got both going the same direction at least.
Yeah, so what they know now is that this is a part of South Africa that has chickens.
Yep, that narrows it down a lot. So probably not. No, it doesn't narrow it down at all, actually.
Yeah, I was wondering it would say. In more real news, both Pashtetli and Solar Sensei are now coming across a sign that is actually reasonably helpful. It says that the town of Mapayeni is off to the east, and Homu 14A is in the north. Pashtetli here finds a sign mentioning Limpopo province, which is the province in the northeast. Solar finds the same thing. So now they both have similar information, and it's a scanning battle.
Yeah, local municipality in Mopani district. District's unfortunately usually not something that actually shows up. Project for Greater Guyana, maybe something that might.
Yeah, Mopani District, Greater Guyana, a couple of these like terms for places you kind of just got to keep in mind as you look around. I mean, Limpopo isn't the biggest province, so at least one of the words that they've seen might be findable. Mapayeni, Mopani,
Guyana,
Guyani.
yeah. They also had, even if they didn't know where Limpopo province is exactly, they had the phone code 15. Um, Obviously, I think if you know where Limpopo is, you probably, well, if you, other way around, if you don't know where Limpopo is, you probably don't know where exactly the 15 is either. But another piece of information there.
True. We see a difference in strategy. Paschtetli choosing to go back to the start and go the other way instead of scanning. Solar continuing to scan and finding Gianni actually on the map.
He does. That's interesting. Good find.
Yeah, Gianni actually I think showed up a little further out. Mopayani, I think, also shows up if you zoom in a little bit, and Homu doesn't really show up at all, but there's lots of POIs that mention something about Homu.
It does show up there to the northeast
Oh,
on,
it does show up. Yeah, I
Paschtetli's
lied.
screen. Yeah, just not near the road.
My memory of the round is failing.
I didn't find any of this, so my memory is not
Uh,
failing. I just never saw it. And yeah, Paschtetli
well,
looking for the Kyukani Education Center, I guess. That does kind
yeah,
of look like it might be it.
yeah, Paschtetli does actually find a road going off to the center and has plonked slightly to the east of that intersection. But Solar is not far behind, has also found the education center, or at least it's on his screen, and has now plonked east of it as well. Now it's up to them to figure out how far they are from the center compared to the other houses.
Mm-hmm. Paschtetli's currently got it at a side road going off to the south, which doesn't seem to be at the Starling location, so gonna have to
Yeah,
adjust that
but
slightly. Oh, or
yeah.
it's just there anyway. Well, you just did too much.
And loses 1 point. That's pain. Because one thing that's difficult is you can't actually tell exactly that there's a side road there, and you can tell that it's sort of old coverage from the fact that the gen jumps to a much higher one as you go down the road. So it might not be the most updated coverage, but
Mm,
yeah, it's hard to see the intersection at the start. In fact, you might not see it at all. But plonking on that intersection is going to give Solar uh, a 5K.
yep, nicely done from him. And yeah, of course, just the 1 point. Paschtetli probably won't be. He'll be a little angry at that, I'm assuming, but it likely won't make much of a difference here.
Yeah, I don't think it's super likely that every round is going to end up being pinpointable.
Yeah, so let's take a look at round 2 now. And let's see. Well, yep, rip pinpointability.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe there's another hidden side road,
Maybe.
but that seems unlikely.
Probably
Yeah, with
not.
this long straight dirt road and very few buildings off in the distance to like sort of like match distances, even if they do show up on the map, this looks like it'll be a fool's errand to try to get a 5K on.
Yeah. It doesn't stop being a straight long road either. So they'll probably hope to at least find some information.
Yeah, they're both going south here. Paschtetli already going in and giving a what I assume is a landscape guess because I can't imagine what he might have seen.
Yeah.
Giving a landscape guess in this general northern area close to Botswana. Solar still going, searching for more information.
I think that's a pretty sort of big waste of time, what he just did there, Paschtetli, as, obviously he doesn't really know much, so I think like looking for an exact road there at this stage is a bit preemptive and might
Yeah, I
cost him
mean,
a couple
yeah,
of seconds that he might need later.
true. You never know if there's just information just out of reach within the 4 minutes that you have in this
Mm,
division. And I know that Paschtetli has practiced the map a lot, but I feel like in order for that immediate like landscape guessing into trying to pinpoint, in order for that to be accurate or successful, you would need to be like incredibly familiar with the roads.
yeah.
Probably more so than Paschtetli will have practiced, but you never know.
Probably almost more so than is possible at that stage. Because I can't imagine the road being distinct to such a level where you can just practice it for even a long time and be like, yeah, it's obviously this road. Um, but yeah, so I think like an early landscape guess is totally reasonable, by the way. Just like take 2-3 seconds to think and be like, okay, probably around this area. I just think he took too much time with it.
That's fair. Yeah. Like it can be good to sort of ground yourself,
He
right?
went
Like
back at the
to
exact same point in time to the start.
That's actually interesting because I feel like in my head, as I'm also playing in Division 4, and because we have 4 minutes, in my head, my formula is I go 1 minute in one direction, then I'll go back to the start and go a minute in the other direction if I haven't found anything. Then I'll spend the last 2 minutes like continuing on in the one that I think is more promising.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any of their like homebrewed formulas like this, but apparently there might be some pattern to it, given that both of them went the same way at the same time.
Mm. Paschtetli's video is glitching a bit, unfortunately, so apologies for that, but we'll just keep it going. I don't know what's causing it. Maybe we'll have to try and find some other ViewSync alternative sometime in the future, because it's not the first time I've been having problems with it. So if anyone in the
That's
comments knows
unfortunate.
anything, please let me know. But yeah, epilepsy warning, I suppose.
Oof.
It's just like
Yeah,
it's flashing over what seems to be Solar's video onto Paschtetli's video, which is weird. But
that's strange.
yeah, they're both coming up to a bridge here. Paschtetli is a little bit faster. Um,
Yeah, it's mostly flat. I did notice that there was like a plateau sort of in the distance, some kind of like mesa kind of looking thing. Like towards the north, that might have been a bit of a reprieve from the flatness, but the terrain map on this map is not good, and that's not going to help at all.
hmm. Yeah, I don't think
I
with
mean,
13
it's
seconds left, I don't think either of them are going to get any written information. There's some interesting red mountains in the north there.
yeah, almost like Australian looking.
Hmm.
Solarsensei goes in the north, and ends up not being super far, but Paschtetli with actually a great plonk there with no information, ending up with 3,300 versus Solar's 1,200.
Yeah, in the end, they both would have done better if they'd gone the other direction first, and they would have found more information probably if they'd kept going that way. But yeah, I mean, those are the kinds of rounds, both went the wrong way in quotation marks first, so it didn't really matter. And yeah, Pastetli just with a much better region guess there, and yeah, we'll take about a 2,000 point lead.
Yeah, and really there's no way to know which way is right or which way is wrong
Yeah.
until afterwards, really. Like the only way you could have actually gotten any information this round is to commit to going north in the first second and just go the entire way. Then like the last few seconds, you might come across a sign or something. I believe Jake, I want to say, might have done that. And potentially Flipster as well.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming, if they'd maybe done your strategy of going 1 minute each direction first instead of going 2 minutes to the south, then they may have realized that that direction to the north looks more promising with the bridge and, civilization on the horizon. And then they might have had enough time to find some more information there too. Um, but yeah, that's just how it is. And we'll get into round three now, and we'll see if Solar Sensei can catch up to Paschtetli in one of the following three rounds.
Yeah, Solar's at more than a 2,000 point deficit, but it is this South Africa map, so you never know. That could actually end up not being impossible to surmount.
Yeah, definitely. There's a good sign though for Paschtetli immediately with the
Christelli, who has gone south, yeah.
yeah M1 towards Edgecombe, Phoenix, and Umlanga, and the M41 there too. The M roads generally in South Africa are roads that lead through the bigger cities. So like Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, and the Pretoria, Johannesburg, and stuff like that too. So they can also repeat in terms of numbers. It seems that Paschtetli is pretty sure about Durban anyway, so I'm assuming he recognized some of the suburbs there.
Yep. Solar Sense has gone the other way and found a reasonably helpful sign. Not as good as Pashtetli's, but it says that he's on the N2 and it says that the M4 is nearby. Which M4? Who knows?
Yeah, and it
This might
also
be a little bit more helpful.
yeah, it also tells
Sorry.
him the exit numbers of the N2, so we'll see if you can find those.
Very useful, yeah. It says exits 182 or something, and the M41 and M47 for
Yep.
solar, which implies, of course, that this is not a small town either that has M's. Like it goes up all the way to 47.
True, true.
Um, yeah, Bestetli went immediately in Durban and now sees a sign for the King Shaka International Airport. This is where airport knowledge might come in handy if you're familiar with what the different major airports in South Africa are called. That is indeed the one near Durban.
All right, yeah. I mean, I've never heard of it, but maybe Pastelli had. But obviously he was already in the area before you found that, so uh, who knows?
Yeah. Solar at the moment looking through Cape Town, I believe, for something that matches the pinpoint, but I believe he will not find it, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think Paschtetli might have found the bridge at the start. Definitely went the better direction there. Um, but, oh, there's another sign for solar, which mentions section 20 something of the N2. So that at least should tell him that we're pretty far along and not anywhere near Cape Town, assuming that the road starts there.
Yeah, like I think it is possible to learn the different sections of the different roads, but that's pretty difficult, I think, especially because they're not really marked on the map anywhere. So you sort of have to commit them to memory if you want to learn them.
Yeah, it's more a thing of, it's section 20 something, so it's not near the start, rather than really going, okay, 26 is exactly here. But
Yep.
he now sees that sign that Paschtetli found at the start as well.
What matters though is whether he knows what to do with it. Like, does he know that those places are not where he is at the moment?
He might be assuming that, just Cape Town has these M roads, which might be why he's only looking at that, as opposed to, any of the other cities that do.
Yeah, possibly.
The Pajamas
For
and
Shelley.
Jam Eatery, PY.
Now, while Paschtetli has got the general area, he still is pinpointing, and this is pretty difficult because you're on like a really widely divided highway here, and really the only POI you have is like that bridge out of the way. But Paschelli still is able to do it pretty well, a pretty good
Mhm.
pinpoint job, and is just a couple meters away for a 5K on that round.
Yeah. Very, very good job from him. He had plenty of time to pinpoint, but still difficult to get it exactly right. Had the bridge, obviously, to help him, as Solarsensei. Unfortunately, just 12 points means that, yeah, I think that gap is pretty much insurmountable now. It's 7,000 something points with just 2 rounds to go. Possible in theory,
Yeah.
but in practice, looking pretty bleak.
Yeah, he would need Paschtetli to royally mess up the next couple of rounds and to do pretty well on them in order to make that difference up.
Yeah, Solar Sensei had similar problems to me. I guess in that sense, I don't know. I don't think actually Solar ever checked the exit numbers, but yeah, those wouldn't have been too helpful either. But yeah, anyway, 2 more rounds to go still. Solar. Close to having to wave his promotion hopes goodbye. Even if he loses, he'd still be in the promotion playoff, so, still a possibility there. But that first place is seemingly floating away, as we'll get into round 4 now. And that probably doesn't look like a round that'll help him make up 5,000 points.
Yeah, it would basically need Solar. He would basically need Solar Sensei to just never find whatever suburban area of a reasonably large town or city this is.
Yeah,
Which might be possible. South Africa has some pretty sprawling metropolises.
definitely. Probably even more so realistic here than in something like, just a general highway that might have a good sign somewhere. But still, with 4 minutes in a what also looks like, even if it is sort of suburban, looks like a pretty well populated area. There's plenty of signs around. I think it'd be a surprise if they couldn't manage to find a town name in those 4 minutes.
Yeah, I guess what matters now is whether or not they're able to not be unlucky, rather, with the signs that they look at. I was gonna say
Mm,
be lucky, but I feel like you don't necessarily need luck to find the town name
yeah.
when there are so many signs around.
East Cape Midlands College.
That gives you a bit of an idea, given that the Eastern Cape is a province of South Africa, but
Mm,
or a state of South Africa, but it is pretty big, so you never know.
yeah.
There's a couple big towns there.
Oh, well,
This will help for sure.
there goes Solo's hopes.
Yeah,
Went
Pashtetli has
Stark
now
on Port
found.
Elizabeth.
Yeah. One thing that might be good to know is that Port Elizabeth is a city that has recently, I believe in 2021, changed its name to Gaberha, which is what it looks like in the map now. Um, but looks like Pashtetli does know this or is able to find the right roads because he seems to be in a good area here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Port Elizabeth name change is well known, so that shouldn't be an issue. The more interesting name change is the city of Cariega, which used to be called, what is it, like Uiterhagen or something like that. And you'll still find that name on all of these signs because the coverage isn't that new. And that, I feel like, is a much less well-known change because I certainly didn't know about it until I played these seeds.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks like both of them now are sort of in the right location. It might be a matter of pinpointing, figuring out where in, well, I guess either Caberra or Cariega that they are.
Yeah, there wouldn't really be a sign towards Port Elizabeth if they were there, would there?
Yeah, good point, good
But
point.
yeah, I feel like, Paschtetli's position right now, he's not going to be losing 2,000 points, even if he doesn't manage to quite pinpoint it exactly. Also, South African cities are very tough to pinpoint generally. I mean, Paschtetli has a little help there. There's the McDonald's to the north as well, which is usually one of the easiest to find POIs in any given town. So with that, might be able to manage to pinpoint, but we'll see.
Yep. And Paschtetli is confident enough in where he is that he's already going back to the start and trying to get his bearings there. Solarsensei is still scanning through the towns, trying to find potentially where he ended up, what part of the metropolis or what buildings he might be near.
Mm, Paschtetli has some street names here. Also, somewhat of a rarity in South Africa. But he seems to be struggling to find them, so maybe he's not quite in the exact right area of the town. And
True,
yes,
yeah, and Solar is also not finding the intersection that he's staring at as time runs out on both players about now.
yep. Paschtetli fairly close, just 118 meters away, but no 5K for him. He was pretty much on the right road. Had his pin there, just
Oh,
couldn't
yeah, yeah.
find it.
Gotta look at those road angles.
Yep. And Solarsensei dropping another 500 points, which will decide the promotion battle in Division 4 B this season. And yeah, congrats to Paschtetli for his promotion. And we'll see if he can finish it off in style with the last round.
Yep. Is there any chance that Solar doesn't actually make it to a promotion spot
No,
with this
a
loss?
promotion playoff, there isn't. As
Promotion playoff, yeah.
yeah, fourth place, Mikpiet is on 15 points. So, well, technically, if Mikpiet gets a perfect score, he'd be equal on points to Solarsensei if Solar doesn't get any bonus points, which he probably won't with that performance. Then it would be in terms of total score, and I think Solar should be fine there regardless. But obviously, that this game is a pretty big hit to his total score. But I think we can pretty much discount Mikpiet getting a perfect score in South Africa on this particular map. It's not impossible, as Paschtetli is showing. He's had some very close guesses, but it's not very likely.
True, yeah. Especially with that round two, that killer round.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at round number 5 now. And
Yeah,
I
let's see
mean,
how it all ends.
maybe that's pinpointable. Rest areas like this are usually not on the map, but sometimes they are. So we'll
Yeah, but
see.
the fact that Paschtetli is coming across a sign so soon implies that there might be some features of note nearby, whether it's an off-road or some roadside thing that might show up as a POI or something like that.
Yeah, and
And not only
he's
that, yeah, it says the N7, which is a very findable road. Solar Sensei finds a sign saying the N7 as well, but not any towns.
yeah, and that is a great sign for Paschtetli. So gonna get probably another at least like 4.5K, if not more. You can manage to pinpoint it. Distance there towards Kamiskron and Springbok.
Oh yeah, for sure. Solar finds a different but reasonably helpful sign as well, or probably equally helpful actually.
Maybe even more because the distance to Garius there is closer than Paschtetli's distance to the other city. Maybe the side road, off road going towards other towns for Paschtetli is a little bit more helpful. Might be that one.
Yeah, yeah, possible. Solar without that side road that Paschtetli found, I think now needs to rely on curves potentially, unless he keeps going and finds a side road to look at.
Yeah. I think he's a bit too far away for, the 10 kilometers to Garius. But we'll see if he realizes that.
Maybe. Paschtetli has now found, I think, the stretch of road that he thinks is most likely. I assume what he's about to do is click count to the intersection, then to the curve.
Yeah, I think that's hopeless, but he's got 2 minutes. Might as well give it a try.
Yeah, you never know when an extra 5K might be of assistance.
No, I don't think, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking it's not going to help him get a 5K. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, click counting is pretty unreliable the further distance you have to count. It actually seems like the images here are fairly consistent. So I think he's actually sort of moving a similar distance with each click. That can also always be a bit of a roadblock in that sense. But yeah, it's kind of just going like, okay, we're somewhat in the middle of there. But yeah, as you can see, 140 points dropped there. And that's, 140 meters, meaning 3 points dropped there. Yeah, but another great guess for him at the end there. And he'll finish with 23.3K, and we'll see if Solar can also manage to find that last round. He's also now looking at the side road, the right one. Doesn't seem convinced of it yet.
I don't think Solar ever went south, but the chunk of road that he's on right now does not go at the right angle from the starting position. But I think, now he's found the right chunk of road. Hopefully he's able to now go south and realize that there is a road coming out that way. Let's see if he finds it. Not that it matters that much at this point, but he does end up getting 1 point closer than Paschtetli with that last guess.
Yep.
Solar ends up with 15.7-ish K, which is pretty respectable given this map. But Solar does come out on top.
Yeah, definitely. In sort of any...
Sorry, Paschtetli comes out on top.
Yeah,
My bad.
true. I was already zoned out. I think, the round 2 is kind of like whatever. It's just neither of them found information, but the round 3, they're really making the difference with Solar. Kind of a misplay, I suppose, just, honing in on Cape Town and never really checking anything else. Potentially just, I don't know, he can tell us what exactly it was that made him so focused on that specific area. But overall, definitely, I think a deserved win from Paschtetli. Great season from him. And yeah, deserved promotion. And, well, good luck to Solarsensei in the promotion playoff that he's going to be playing in.
True, but not too much luck.
Oh, yeah, he's playing against you, right.
Yep.
Yeah, there was something there. Okay, just a little bit of luck. We don't want him to have very bad luck, but, a little bit.
An appropriate sportsman-like amount of luck wished to Solar for the upcoming bout.
All right. Yeah, so that'll do it for this matchcast. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys again next time. Till then, bye.
See you later.